Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. In today's video, I'm continuing my rankings of my top 100 favorite albums all time. This time we are doing number 42 on my list. Number 42 favorite album is a Paul McCartney album called Pipes of Peace. And so we will be talking about that here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well on this Saturday evening. I want to do this video. It seems like I haven't do too many of these videos of my top 100 favorite albums. It's taken me a while to get through the list. So I'm at number 42 at the moment. First, I want to say I did a collaboration with Adam from What the Gym channel earlier today, in my time anyways, in Central Standard Time. We ranked every song on the album Flaming Pie, and I thought it was a really good video. I really enjoyed doing it with Adam. I thought we did a pretty good job analyzing all the songs and talking about why we love them so much. And it's a really great album, Flaming Pie by Paul McCartney. Anyway, so definitely go to What the Gym, that channel, and check that collaboration, that live stream. It's a live stream that we did. But yeah, check that out. I think it was a really fun video. And I want to say on September 9th, I'm doing a collaboration with Adam from What the Gym and also Briar from Briar CD Showcase, ranking our top 10 favorite animation movies. So check that out. I'll talk about that more, of course, in the future, coming up a couple weeks anyway. But yeah, so this is number 42 on my list, Pipes of Peace. Another Paul McCartney. It's funny, I just talked about Paul McCartney with Adam on the live stream. And here just happened to be number 42 on my list is a Paul McCartney album. Came out in 1983, which is the year I was born, so definitely a special year for me. This actually is my second favorite album from 1983. There's another album that's a little farther on my list that I'll talk about coming from that same year. That's my favorite album. This is considered the fourth solo studio album for Paul McCartney. Of course, you know Paul McCartney. He started off kind of a solo artist after the Beatles breakup with McCartney and Ram, McCartney 1 and Ram, I guess. He then formed the band The Wings, and he did several albums with them in the 70s. I say several, I can't remember how many, but he did those. So after that, he then went back to being a solo artist. So this says fourth studio album, though he did this, I don't know how many this is for him, but if you combine it with Wings, this is much more than 4 albums that he's done at this point. But so this is like kind of second album after breaking up with the Wings. First one must have been Tug of War, which was the album before this one. And so this is kind of the second solo album he did after that, out of his 80s solo work. This went number 15 in the US, so it did decent. This is really an underrated album. Like, this is one of the most underrated album out of Paul McCartney's discography for sure. I never hear anybody talk about this album. Nobody ranks this album very high. It's usually when people rank Paul McCartney albums, this one's usually pretty low on the list. I'm always kind of surprised. I don't know why. I'm like the only one that really loves this album. It's just one of those that I think just really does. There's not really a terrible song on here. There's 2 instrumentals that I don't care for so much, but all the other songs I think are really good. Like I listened to the whole album and didn't think there's one bad song really there. So I don't know why it's so low. I think maybe it doesn't have any big hits on it, as some of his other albums maybe, and it's really a nice pop album. I think all the songs are really nice, catchy pop songs that I really enjoy. I think, like I said, I don't think there's really a bad song on the album except for the 2 instrumentals I'm not as crazy about. But yeah, so 15 in the US. Like I said, this came out after Tug of War was the album before this. So a lot of these songs are songs that he wrote while he was recording Tug of War. And these are kind of some of the songs that he didn't make it onto Tug of War. And I guess he had enough. Obviously, Paul McCartney writes so many songs. I mean, he's such a song, so prolific in writing songs that I'm sure he had so many songs that he was, when he puts an album together, he has all these songs that he kind of records, and then he kind of figures out which ones fit on the album. So these are songs, some of these songs are songs that didn't fit on Tug of War album. I'm guessing, that were left over. And so he had enough songs, of course, that he can make another album. So he decided to make this one. What's interesting is that the last album, Tug of War, you have the title War in there. This is Pipes of Peace, so it's almost a contrast to the last album, which is talking about war. This one's talking about peace in the title. So I thought that's kind of interesting how he did that. In fact, there's an instrumental song on this album called The Tug of Peace. So it seems, and it kind of plays off of the song Tug of War off his last album. So I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, contrasting war and peace with these two albums. This album was produced by George Martin. So you got, definitely the most famous music producer, produced almost all of the Beatles albums, and obviously very close relationship with Paul McCartney. And I'm sure this wasn't the only one. I'm sure he had many other albums that he collaborated or that he produced for Paul. So obviously George Martin, always love seeing his name on it when he's producing, because he's obviously one of the most famous producers and a really good one. It's done a lot of great albums. What's probably most well known about this album, that he collaborated with Michael Jackson on two songs, Say, 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 and The Man. And this is coming off of Tug of War, which he collaborated with Stevie Wonder on the song Ebony and Ivory, which was I think a #1 song coming off of Tug of War, and did very well, of course, and very good collaboration with Stevie Wonder. I've heard some people say they really don't like that song. I actually think that's a decent song, Ebony and Ivory. Stevie Wonder and Paul's voices work well together. In fact, I want to say Glenn Kellaway from Glenn Kelly in the Basement, I think, said that was his least favorite song on the album, maybe his least favorite Paul McCartney song of all time. He really does not like that song. So I think that's definitely a divisive song. I've heard people not liking that song. So I feel like after collaborating with Stevie Wonder, he decided to collaborate with Michael Jackson on two songs on this album. I guess he was in that mood to collaborate with other big artists. Anyways, and I'll get to those songs. I think the songs are actually pretty decent. Say As I Say is the biggest song probably off of this album. Did the best single wise. Also wanted to note that he was also working on a movie at the same time he was doing this album called Give My Regards to Broad Street. It's a movie that he made in 1984, and also there's an album that came out called Giving My Regards to Broad Street. Though it's an interesting album because it doesn't have a lot of originals. It has a lot of songs from other albums. And there's some Beatles songs on there, and there's actually a song off here that's also on that album. And so it's not a lot of new songs. There's actually a lot of other songs from other albums that he does. But there is some new material. I know No More Lonely Nights comes off that album, which is a really good song. But anyway, so he was working on this movie. He really wanted to kind of, Paul was always, I don't know, he was kind of the mastermind, if you want to call it, behind Magical Mystery Tour. That was kind of his idea. And so I think he always loved this idea of being maybe a movie actor, or being someone that could write a movie and, expand his what he can do as a musician, and also get into movies a little bit. And I think he was also playing off of the fact that Ringo was making movies at this time, and I think he was like, hey, I can do movies too. Ringo can do it. And so he made this movie, Give My Regards to Broad Street, which is not a very good movie, and it's critically not reviewed very well. Didn't do all that great. So he didn't really become kind of the movie maker that I think he wanted to be, or the movie actor, movie writer, or whatever. Anyways, but I just say that to say he had a lot going on at this time. He was working on Pipes of Peace album, kind of with songs that he had left over from Tug of War, and he was also working on writing this movie, Give My Regard to Broad Street, which was a huge project for him at the time. So a lot going on at this time for Paul McCartney. Also want to note that Ringo also plays on this album, so it's always nice seeing Ringo play. And Ringo seems like he shows up a lot on Paul McCartney albums. He also shows up a lot on George Harrison, I think, and even John Lennon. Ringo's like the go-to guy for a drummer for any of them, because obviously they have a great relationship and they've collaborated so many times, of course, with the Beatles. So yeah, it's great seeing Ringo on here. Like I said, there's 3 singles coming off here: Say, 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 the Michael Jackson collaboration was definitely the biggest of the three, the biggest single that coming off this album. It went number 2 in the UK and number 1 in the US, so it was a number 1 single, kind of coming off of the number 1 single, Ebony and Ivory. So people really loved when Paul McCartney collaborated. Evidently did very well. Another single came out, Pipes of Peace, only came out in the UK, but it went number 1 in the UK, so it did very well. It's not a really well-known song of his, I would say. It's a decent song, though. Didn't do anything in the US, evidently. And then the third single was So Bad, which I didn't write down if it came out in the UK or the US, but it went number 23. It was the highest it got. Another decent song off of here. It's interesting, he collaborated with Michael Jackson. They became, I didn't realize this till later, they became pretty good friends, maybe at this point when they collaborated together. And there's a funny story about Paul talking to Michael Jackson about, the money really is in publishing or buying, publishing rights or buying songs and getting the, if you get the publishing rights of songs and you get to, people have to pay you money to use that song. I think Paul was telling Michael, that's where you can really make money or something like that. And that's the place to go. And funny enough, later on, Michael Jackson would buy all of the Beatles' publishing rights. So Paul McCartney, and George and Ringo didn't have the rights to their own songs, which is interesting that they did with the Beatles. Michael Jackson had the rights to them, and so Michael Jackson, if he could, when you have the rights, you can, like, if someone wants to use your song in a movie or a TV show or a commercial, they can go to you and you have to give them the right. You can say no or yes, like, no, I don't want you to play that music and whatever. Or you say, yeah, this is how much money you have to pay me to use the rights to the song. So Michael Jackson was able to, use their songs, which I think was kind of angering to Paul McCartney after that happened. And I think he felt a little bamboozled by it. Like Michael, like, I was telling you as a friend and now you bought my songs and you're selling it to commercials and movies and, and I don't get to say who gets to use my song, So it's a very funny kind of thing that happened between the two, probably around this time when they collaborated. The album overall charted number 4 in the UK and number 15 in the US. Like I said, I think I said that already, I guess. So yeah, not bad, not great, well, not number 1 album, but obviously Paul still at this time, 1983, was still popular enough he can sell records anyways, and obviously did a lot better in the UK, his home country. So yeah, it's just a really nice pop album. I think all the songs work very well together, like I said. And getting to my top 3, the songs that didn't make it on there, I thought was still pretty good. I really like the 2 collaborations with Michael Jackson, Say 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 and The Man. I think they harmonized together very well. Michael has a really powerful voice. I thought worked really well on the album. Yeah. Sorry, I had to stop the video. My wife came home and she got me a shake, so that's why there's a little bit stoppage there. But as I was saying, I like Michael Jackson's does actually a pretty good job. He has a very powerful voice and works really well with Paul's voice, which is very kind of a smooth voice, I would say. Yeah, both sound really well together. I'm not a big Michael Jackson fan, but not bad. Actually, really good collaboration there with those 2 songs. Like I said, Pipes of Peace, one there, did really well in the UK. Decent song, opens up the album. It's the title of the song, or title of the album. It's a good pop song, really enjoyable opener to it. Another song I kind of quite enjoyed was called The Average Person, which was a really fun song where he talks about he met a person and he asked them what they do and they say, I'm a waitress or I'm a truck driver. One says I'm a boxer, and he kind of goes through their story of like what they do and what they want to be anyways. And so lyrically I really enjoyed the song, and it's really kind of just a fun little pop song where he's talking about the average person and what they do and what they like to be and all this. So again, a lot of good songs on here. But the top 3, number 3 is So Bad, one of the singles I talked about. Very interesting song, really good melody. Paul McCartney is singing a very high register. It's like the highest I've heard him sing. In fact, it doesn't even sound like Paul McCartney the way he sings the song. But it's a nice love song, really schmaltzy love song. But if you know me, I love a good schmaltzy love song. And the whole idea behind the song is He says, I love you so bad, meaning like I love you so much. I love you so bad, kind of another word for I really love you. And the way he sings that is really nice, catchy melody there. Number 2 for me is a song called The Other Me. Really good song, not talked much about with Paul McCartney, but nice melody. Love the chorus, and the whole idea of the song is kind of almost apology song to his girlfriend or whatever, wife, saying, you know, I'm messed up, but there's a better version of me that will do things right. So, you know, like, just bear with me and I'll be better. And so I love that when he's talking the other me. Bum, 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 bum. It's a really nice, catchy little chorus there. Talking about the other me would treat you right. The other me would, you know, it even says, help me find the other me, meaning, you know, help me out. And I swear there's a better version of me out there that will be good for you anyway. So it's a nice little love song, kind of apology song. I think lyrically really nice, really catchy pop. Anyways, number 1 for me on this album, and one of my favorite Paul McCartney songs of all time, a song called "Through Our Love." And it's like one of those hidden gem songs that I've never heard of before. It wasn't a single. I never knew the song existed until I was listening to this album, and I was like, man, this is a really good song. When I did my 10 favorite Paul McCartney songs back in June when he turned 80, this was in my top 10. I can't remember exactly where, but it was in my top 10 favorite Paul McCartney songs of all time, his solo songs after the Beatles. Anyways, yeah, just such an underrated song. I highly recommend everybody to, if you like Paul McCartney or like music at all, just check out the song. It's another just really nice love song, and just very beautiful. The overall music is just really beautiful, and vocally really great, and a lot of great harmonies in this song. A lot of great backing vocals, I think. Lennon McCartney, I know, played piano and did backing vocals on this anyway. So yeah, one a great love song and one of his best, I think. So definitely check out Through Our Love as my favorite song on this album. So that's it for me on this. Number 42, Pipes of Peace from 1983. Paul McCartney. I love Paul McCartney, and this is one of my favorite albums. I think I have 2 more Paul McCartney albums higher on the list that I will talk about at a later date anyway. So thank you for watching, and thank you to everybody for liking the video, and thank you to all the subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a good day.